Volkswizard a video. Now today I'm going to drive a road I've been meaning to drive for many years. It's called the Stelvio Pass and it connects Italy to Switzerland. You've probably heard of it before because Top Gear called it their greatest driving road probably about 11 years ago now. And even though I've driven many other passes in the Alps, I've never driven the Stelvio, probably because every time I look it up on the internet I always read about how uninspiring it is to drive. There's too many camper vans and too many crazy bikers. But I thought, seeing as I'm in the area, I should find out for myself. So without any further ado, let's take the Kermit Green Audi Rs3 up the Stelvio Pass. Okay, so we're sort of only a few minutes in still, and the road is as narrow as I feared. In places you definitely can't get two cars past, and we've nearly had like a guy on a scooter drive into us when he came around a bend and found us there. And we're in a bright green car that's not particularly big, but I'm hoping it gets a bit better when we get further up. We're still in the tree line here, so quite clearly we've got a long way to go yet. Yeah, it's definitely not a bit of road to relax on this or unleash the 400 horsepower. It really is just a paying your dues for the bit that's coming up, hopefully anyway. I mean, these hairpins are probably a bit too tight even for an up GTI, I think. Okay, we're a bit further up now. It seems to have got a little bit wider, a little bit more flowing, but up until this point it's been like first gear and grimacing when a car's coming the other way. They number the curves, and we started off in the high 40s. We're on 32 now, so I think number 1 must be the very last one. So we're doing all right, actually. Yeah, it seems to be getting a bit better the higher we go up. Okay guys, we're about a third of the way up now. It's not really got an awful lot better. The cyclists are still coming thick and fast, the bikers are out, we've had camper vans, we've seen an air ambulance, an ambulance and a police car, so it's not looking particularly good. I can't think why anybody would have called this the greatest driving road, because it's not, unless you close it and then use it as a one-way street. It's really scenic. I mean, it's probably one of the most scenic roads I've been on, but as a driver you can't really look and enjoy it anyway. So no, I don't know what Top Gear are on really. I think it might have been one of their little jokes to call this the greatest driving road, because so far it's one of the worst I've driven. I've driven Timmelsjoch, Alpine, Passo de Penas, the Col de Turini, the Col de Vence, the Route Napoleon as well, and they're all massively more enjoyable to drive. I guess on a motorbike it would be perfect because you've got the power to get up and they're narrow, but it's almost like they should close it for anything with four wheels because it's just grief. I've watched this on video, especially the Jethro Bovingdon Ferrari 458 and thought it looked pretty narrow. I mean, roads can look narrow on camera, as it probably does right now, but this isn't much wider than it looks on camera. Still, there's a man taking a photo of your car. Okay, I've just rounded turn number 5, so we're nearly at the top now, and it's even worse than it was down below really. It feels a bit like driving around a multi-storey car park that's really tight and worrying about people backing out of spaces all the time. That's not enjoyable. I've got to say, it's probably one of the worst driving roads. To top it all off, the heat's getting to my GoPro, which keeps on switching itself off, which I've never seen before. I guess we should be grateful that it's not raining, and it is relatively quiet. I just can barely get around this corner in this car on full lock, so I don't know what it'd be like in a crappy lock supercar. It must be awful. This is turn number 3, so I can't wait to get to the end. Okay, here I am at the top of the Stelvio Pass in Italy. The Audi Rs3 has brought me up here, and it's been a good car, but it's been somewhat restricted by the road and the narrowness of it, and just a number of bends, the bikes, the caravans. It is not in its element. It's wasted here. You'd be better off in something a lot more mundane than this, because you just can't give it its head on this road. So that was very interesting. The Alpine Pass late at night the other day was far more enjoyable than this. So the hype surrounding the Stelvio is somewhat disappointing. It's great if you're a biker because it's a bit narrower. Well, it's much easier to ride it on a bike than it is to drive it in a car. In fact, I'm into cycling. I find this pretty arduous, but if I had to do it again, I'd rather do it on a bike than do it in a car, because it's just not enjoyable. And you're on holiday as well. If you're in your own car and you're 1,000 miles from home, just to drive it up here and risk the damage on it for what? For a really good view. To be fair, it's you know, fantastic seeing all this snow. Once you get out of the car and you can actually enjoy it, it's worth the effort. But trying to drive it and try and get any pleasure out of driving, I don't think so. There's one of the best landscape roads in Europe. Yeah, I'd probably give it that. But as for driving, no, thank you very much. So we've still got I'm a bit short of breath because there's not much oxygen up here. There's an overwhelming smell of onions as well, and I don't think it's me. So I hope you've enjoyed this Volkswizard video. If you have, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more, and see you for the next one soon.